So, what the heck are right defaults? This little right here. To quote VRC School, right defaults is an optional animator state and a headache for many avatar creators as they behave in weird and unexpected ways. The right defaults field decides whether or not the changes made with this animation are persistent or not. So what does that mean exactly? Why don't you tell us, you thick bastard? Basically, if right defaults is enabled, any animated items in that state will return to their default state when leaving it. That means when it's off, any changes will stick. By default, Unity has this enabled for new states, though VRChat's animator controllers have it turned off. So what does this look like exactly? Okay, let's say you have a fancy little hat that you want to toggle on and off. If the hat is off by default during upload, here's what happens. With right defaults on, when toggling the hat and entering the on state, the hat would toggle on. Go figure. When the hat is then toggled off and you go back to that empty state, it will then toggle off. Again, since that was the default state of the avatar. With right defaults off, when toggling the hat again, it will still toggle, but when you try and toggle it off, that hat will just kind of stay there, since you're not animating it back off directly. So what should you use? Either one. Both are perfectly valid. Right defaults on is less complicated and better for simple projects, whereas right defaults off is much more suited for more complicated systems. But what do you do when an asset you wanted to install is right defaults off and you need to convert your right defaults on avatar to use it? It's really not hard to fix, just a little time consuming, depending on the avatar. Let me show you. So I have here an avatar with a simple right defaults on toggle. When toggled on, the protogen bits turn on. See? However, this would not work with right defaults off. To fix this, we need to do two things. First, if there are any empty states, such as this off one here, you need to put in a buffer animation of some kind. Right defaults off doesn't really play well with pure empty states. To do so, simply make an animation inside of your assets folder and slot it into the empty state. You will need to do this for any empty states just like this. Once it's there, go to the animation in the animation window and record literally anything on the avatar, such as toggling something. When you do, click on the text with the toggle and hit F2 to rename the field. Name it something no animation would ever touch, something like buffer do not animate. Make a second keyframe at 1 second by copying and pasting it to the 60 frame mark. Once you've done that, we move on to step 2, back to the animator. Add a layer to the top of the animator and call it WD off fix. Quick note, the naming and such is not needed. I just prefer to keep things clean. Now create an empty state. I call mine reset. Now create and insert another animation file. This file will be your right defaults fix. Inside this animation, you'll need to animate everything to its default state that is animated on the avatar. For example, the protogen parts. They are being animated on, so we need to make sure that they are animated off by default. Once you've done that for anything that you're animating on your avatar, you've successfully converted your avatar to right defaults off and can install all those fancy prefabs. See? That wasn't so hard. Now, go forth and do whatever you want with this information. This took me far too long to make and I'm tired.